Hi there. Looks like you caught us playing Multiplication War. Hopefully you already had some time to play and are ready to jump into our lesson. Looks like she beat me on this round. They're all yours. Out some of your place value discs. That could be really helpful for today's lesson. We are going to continue to do some mental calculations, and we're going to start with some that you've actually already learned earlier. So if I gave us this problem right here, 100, I'm going to take away 36. So let's show that with our discs right here. If I had 100, but I'm wanting to take away 36. So I may want to divide up my 100. Do you have some ideas? Yeah, we could split our 100 into 90 and 10, right? So if I had 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so there's 90, and then I have 10, right? So I kind of took my 100 and I split it up into these two groups, 90 and 10, okay? So what I can do is I could take my 90 and 10 and subtract, how many are in my tens place here? 30. So I could subtract 30 from here, so that would be 90 minus 30, okay? So I could take away 30 here, but I'm still left with 6 ones. So with my 10 down here, if I take 6 away, what is 10 minus 6? Right, 4. We can always trade this out for 10 ones and take our 6 away, but we know that 10 minus our 6 is going to give us 4. So in splitting up our 100 into two groups like this, could help us in calculating it. 90 minus 30 is 60, and then our 10 minus 6 is 4. So if we add these two together, we would get 64. Does that sound a reasonable answer? Could 64 be the answer to 100 minus 36? Right, and you practiced with that earlier. Let's try another one. How about if we did 1,000 and we took away, let's do 436. Okay. Let's talk about how we may want to distribute this number a little bit. Let's write it over here. If I had my 1,000, I could break it up into my hundreds, my tens, so I have 900 plus 90, and then I'd subtract my ones from my last 10 right here. So I'd subtract my hundreds from here, my tens from here, and my ones from here. So what I'm subtracting is how many hundreds? 400. Okay. How many tens? 3 tens. Okay. And then how many ones? 6. So I could do each of these individually. 900 minus 400 is going to give me 500. I had 90 minus 30 is going to give me 60. And then 10 minus 6 is going to give me 4. Now what would I need to do with all these? I would need to add them together. 500 plus 60 plus 4 is going to give me, great, 564. So you see how we broke up our 1,000 into 900 and 90 and 10? If we added all these together, we would know they would equal 1,000. Now if we want to show this with our place value discs, we could get out our 1,000, right? And let's see, let's break it up into our 900. So we have 900, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so there's my 900. You can see all that. And then our 90. Let's do 90. Okay, and our last one, we're going to have a 10 over here. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put 10 ones down here since we are going to subtract ones from it. So here's my 10 ones. There we go. All right, so would you agree I have 900 plus 90 plus 10? That's going to give me this 1,000. So I'm going to take this 1,000 away. I don't need it anymore. And from our 900, if we subtract 400, 1, 2, 3, 4 from that, 30 from our 90, 1, 2, and 3, and then 6 from our 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What do we have left? 564. Great. Good job, you guys. Let's try another one. All right, let's do one that's a little bit different. And this is kind of another way we're going to move some numbers around to make it easier. If I had 149 and I wanted to add 98, can you think of a strategy that might be helpful? I mean, we can always line up our hundreds, tens, and ones and add our 98 like this, right? But, is there something we might need to could change a little bit to make it easier to mentally calculate it? Tell your home instructor who's with you a strategy that you think might work. I bet some of you thought, you know what, 98 is so close to 100. I wonder if I could add 100 to it. So by using our place value discs, if I had 149, 6, 8, and 9. So I have 149 right here, and I'm adding an extra 100. But am I really adding 100? No, I'm only adding 98. So by adding 100, what do I need to do? I need to take 2 away, don't I? Right? Because I added 2 more in my hundreds, so therefore I need to take 2 more away. Okay? So we see then we did 149 plus 100, but then we subtracted 2, which are represented right here. Okay, let's do this one more time. 149. I want to only add 98, but it's easier for my brain to add 100 because I know what that is. That's 249. But since I'm only adding 98, I need to take 2 away. Okay, so then I need to subtract my 2 here. So 249 minus 2 should give me 247. Let's see if we have that here. 247. You see that? Let's try another one. This one might feel a little bit bigger, but it's going to be a really similar strategy. So 4,538. Let's subtract, how about 998? We're working with hundreds and thousands here. So bigger numbers, but same strategy. So based upon what we just did, what might your strategy be? Let's show our place value discs one more time here. So if I have 4,000, 500, and 38. 6 and great, good, right? Help me out. Do I have the right amount? 4,538. Great. So I'm subtracting 998. What might 998 be close to? 1,000, exactly. So what I can do is I can take my 4,538 and subtract 1,000. Here we go. But am I really subtracting 1,000? No, I'm only subtracting 998, which is 2 less than this. So what do I need to do? Hopefully you realize I needed to add those 2 back in. You see that? Let's go back and look at it one more time. I have 4,538. If I take away 1,000, I need to remember I'm only taking away 998. So I'm taking away 2 more here. So I need to add those 2 back in. Okay? And because it's easier for me to take 1,000 away from 4,538. If I take 1,000 away, that's going to give me 3,538. But remember, we can't forget to add those 2 back in to give us a total of 3,530. Oh, we have 10 here. So we would trade those out for a 10, right? So we have 3,540. All right, let's see if we can do some without our visuals. Okay, let's do this one. See how we can move these numbers around. I've had 800, and I'm taking away 642. What are some ways you could make this easier to solve? We could round this up to 700 if we wanted to. So we could take 800 and subtract 700. So if I did that, here's my 800 right here. And if I took away 700, 2, 4, 6, 7, that does leave me with 100. But did I take away 700? No, I only took away 642. So I would need to find the difference of these 2 numbers. So the difference between 700 and 642 would be, good, 58. Okay, so we would add those 2 together, 158. Because really, I didn't take away all 700. I needed to give back the difference between my 700 and 642. Let's look at this one another way. What if we took our 800 and we divided that into 700 and 100? Then might it be a little bit easier? How many hundreds could we take away from 700? 6, right? We have a 600 right here. And then how much can we take away then from our 100? 42. So we could do it this way as well. We can take 600 from our 700 and then the 42 from our other 100 that's left over. And this would give us 100, and then 100 minus 42 would give us that 58. And if we added those 2 together, we would get 158. And what do we think? I always like to look at an answer and ask, does that sound reasonable? Does this sound like it would be the right answer to that problem? Yeah, hopefully you said yes. Okay, let's play with a few more. Okay, what if I gave you this right here? 702, and we're going to add 197. How might you figure that one out? I think there's quite a few different strategies for this one. Right, so some of you might have thought, you know what, this is so close to 700. I'm just going to say this is 700, and I'm going to add my 197 to it. But remember, we are not adding 700, we're adding 702, which is 2 more. So let's make sure we add our 2 right there. So we can do 700 plus 197 is going to give us 897, right? And then we're going to add our 2. That's going to give us 899. If you need to use your place value discs to see this visually, feel free to keep using them. They're so great to help us see really what's happening with these numbers. Now, some of you might have done it differently. You might have thought, I'm going to keep my 702, and I think this is pretty close to 200, so I'm just going to add my 200 here. But I know I'm not adding 200, I'm only adding 197, which is how much less than our 200? 3 less. So I need to make sure, because you see this 200 minus 3 is going to give us that 197. So adding these 2 together is going to give me 902. And then I'm going to subtract my 3. That'll give me, oh good, the same answer, 899. I wonder if you can think about a third way that you can answer this problem. We're now going to move on to a few multiplication problems, see how we can move those numbers around. We're going to start with 36 times 3. And if we were to draw this out, remember, think of the visual with our connecting cubes. If we were to draw this out, I could say I have 36 over here, and maybe I need to make this a little bit slimmer, huh? And 3 up here, okay? So how might I want to kind of distribute these numbers around and make it easier? Some of you might think that I can take this 36 and split it up into a 30 and a 6, right? And we can do that. Let's do it on this side over here. Let's split it up. Let's say that this is 6 right here, and this right here is 30. So you see how we split our 36 into 30 and 6? And that could make it easier to multiply. I can then do 30 times 3, right? And add it to my 3 times 6. See how we redistributed that around a little bit? So 30 times 3 is going to give me 90. Then if I add it to 3 times 6, or the product of 3 and 6, which is 18, that is going to give me 108. So sometimes even drawing a visual could help us also. So let's remember this. 36 times 3 is going to give me 108. So if I know that, how can that help me maybe with 36 times 30? Okay, how might I want to move those numbers around? So what I could do, since I know 36 times 3 is 108, I could do 36 times 3. But is it just 3? No, it's 3 tens, right? So what if I wrote it like this? My 3 times 3 is my 30, right? So this right here is my 30. But yet I know, remove these now, 36 times 3 is 108. And multiplying that by 10 might make it feel a little bit easier. What's 10 groups of 108? It will give me 1,080. Okay. There are other ways we can work through this as well. We could take our 36, let's draw our rectangle right here. And we could, again, split these numbers up a little bit. We could split our 36 up into 30 and 6. and multiply it by our 30. So that expression would be a little bit different. We would do 30 times 30, okay? Which I bet you're already thinking about that answer. And then we would add it to our 6 times 30. This is another way we could do it. And our 30, if I want 30 groups of 30, that is going to give me a whopping 900, because 10 groups of 30 would be 300, right? So 30 groups of 30 must be 900. And then I'm going to add my 6 times 30. I want 6 groups of 30. That will give me 180. And as I add these two together, I would get 1,080. There are other ways you can move these numbers around, and all of them are a little bit different. It depends on what you like, and it probably depends on what numbers you are working with. I think it's important to know a multitude, a variety of ways. In fact, I want to challenge you to try to answer some of these questions in more than one way, so you practice with these additional strategies also. Now, based upon what we learned about this one right here, we learned that that was 1,080. What if I changed this 30 to 29? Uh-oh. Well, what we do know is 36 times 30 is 129. Oops, sorry. It's not 129. Is 1,080. But did we multiply it by 30? No, just 29. Just 29 groups, not 30 groups. We'll need to subtract one of those groups of 36, okay? Because we only have 29, but we're doing 30 groups of 36. We need to make sure we subtract one of them to get our 29. So 36 times 1 is going to give us 36. And then if we take this away from 1,080, what might we get? I'm waiting. Think about it. Am I right? Is that right? 1,044? Good job. Let's do one last one for the day. Okay, I promise this is the last one of the day. You've done so much hard work today. We'll finish with this. We have 99 and we're multiplying that by 23. Just like addition, we looked at a number and thought, well, this is close to this and that's easier to work with. So you may look at your 99 and think, you know what? It's going to be a little bit easier to multiply my 23 by 100, right? So if I multiply my 23 by 100, that is going to give me 2,300, right? But, is it really by 99? Yes, it's really by 99, but is it really by 100? No, I don't want 100 groups of 23, just 99. So I need to subtract one of these groups of 23. Oops. Do you see that? I have 100 times 23, and I'm subtracting 1 times 23. We can also see 100 minus 1 is what? 99. Good. So we have 2,300, and we're taking away 23. What might that give us? All together, you guys, 2,277. Excellent work today. I'm sure you're tired. You have a little bit of your workbook page, I think, to do today, but excellent job, everybody, and we'll see you next time.